Hey, welcome to another
Hi.
amazing episode of Dentistry Going Wild, the official podcast for mobile and teledentistry. And I'm here with my partner in crime, Melissa. Hey, lady.
What's up? Peace signs coming out today. I don't know why.
We're so excited. We're so excited to be here today. We have one of our amazing sponsors here with us. He's always so supportive and he's an amazing business guy. Melissa, take it away.
Oh my gosh. So thank you, Sonya. And it's good to be back. We've been on a break for a very long time because of the holidays and then we were traveling. And so we are back and ready to get things going. Okay, so this guy who we have on today has been one of our biggest supporters since the beginning of this whole thing that started.
Yes.
We have Sean Hall, co-founder of Sodium Dental. Hi, Sean. Welcome.
Hi, how's it going, guys?
Good. No, I need to say this though. It's amazing when you meet somebody who gets your vision right away. And that's how Sonya and I feel since the beginning of even meeting you, Sean, and Sodium and the whole team. It's one of these things where you saw what we saw about mobile dentistry, teledentistry, about the future of dentistry. You saw it in a heartbeat, right? So there was none of this like, well, let me convince you. And so it's great to always catch up with you. So welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to get to talk to you guys again.
So tell us, okay, you've got a lot going on with Sodium Dental. I mean, I see your advertisements come through. I want to know, the first thing I'd like to know, and Sonya, I'm totally butting in here, but what's new with Sodium Dental? What's new with Sodium Dental? Because I feel like there's so much new stuff coming out from you all.
Well, we actually have a few exciting things. One, we just picked up a product we're really excited about because it's the first direct capture digital X-ray sensor and it's wireless. So it solves some problems we've had with sensors in the past, which are people complain about the cables breaking and whatnot. And also sensors are thick because of the scintillator inside of them. So a direct capture X-ray sensor is like a really thin, very durable, and it can be made wireless sensor. So that's pretty exciting. And
Hold on.
I know you can't breeze past that, Sean. Nope, this is Melissa's wheelhouse. You can't breeze past that.
No.
Stop.
Okay.
You got to put a pause.
Pause here. Direct capture. That means that's what we use every day. A typical sensor, right?
No,
or is that different than what we use every day?
It's different.
Can you share it, Sean? Do you have a picture of it? Do you want to share it or no? Put you on the spot, didn't I? Put you on the spot.
It's called the DC Air. Okay. And I have a model of it. Hold on one second.
Oh, is it direct capture? Because, well, I'm not sure. But I like the wireless.
You have to show me that, Melissa. Let me see.
So the difference between a direct capture sensor, so every sensor on the market currently, every sensor, so whether you have Dexis or you have a very inexpensive sensor, they all use X-ray light hits a scintillator, and then that scintillator turns it into a visible light, and then it's a regular sensor that takes a picture of regular light. Okay. When it has to convert X-ray light to visible light with this little material called a scintillator, it gets fuzzier, kind of like shining like a projection screen through a thin sheet. And so with a lot of X-ray technology in hospitals, mammography and such, they went to direct capture a while back, but there was no way to make those direct capture sensors really small. But this company developed up a way to make them really small. And so now you get so much more contrast in the X-rays. It's a pretty cool leap forward. And for us, because you don't have to put the scintillator in the front, the scintillator also required there to be a glass plate inside that sensor head. And that's usually what fractures and stuff when somebody drops it. You drop your phone and your camera doesn't break. The screen breaks, right? Because of the glass face on the screen. So that happens with sensors too. There was this glass plate with a direct capture sensor, and this is the only sensor that does it. There's nothing that's not in there to break. It also means you can make it a lot thinner. So this is a 3D printed model of the sensor. You see it's tiny and thin. So I'll keep it on the focus plane. And I print off little 3D models of these because I don't like my sales reps walking around with a wireless sensor in their pocket. But it's so thin, and this is the whole sensor. There's no cable, so
Whoa!
you just toss this in a bag, put it in a sensor holder, and throw it in the mouth. And then it immediately transmits to the computer. So it's not like you like as you're taking the X-rays, you see them on the computer just like you would with a plug-in sensor. It's really slick, and with the new, Schick tried to do it years ago, but they had to use the old school sensor technology, and theirs was like super thick, really bulky. The batteries died quickly, but you can imagine in 10 years how far battery technology's come. So, in our testing over here, we've tested, take like 140 X-rays before we have to recharge it, and we keep the docking stations in the room. So you take a series, put it back on the docking station. It's always charging then. And also that's just like a secure place to put it. But it's pretty slick, and we're really excited about it. We had to buy a lot of them to kind of form this partnership with the manufacturer. But for us, it's just like a no-brainer because, we fix sensors all the time. It's always the cable that breaks. Yeah. And the cable is always the thing that makes like this shot a nightmare, right?
Yes. The cable was a nightmare to begin with. I hate it. It pulls, it tugs, you trip over it.
Right. So, with the right. I mean, with no cable poking out, or it's like every time you take an anterior PA too, your patient's biting on that cable, and that sensor is really expensive, and like eventually they're going to bite through that cable, and either you're going to spend a fair amount of money to fix it, or you may end up just paying a lot of money to replace it. So we're pretty pumped about it. And they just did a similar size to the DEXIS sensor, so that you could just do a one size fits all sensor. So you don't, and because it's so skinny, you don't really need a smaller size. It's really easy to maneuver in the mouth. So that's cool and new.
That's really cool. Oh, okay. I'm still stuck on that. Sorry. I'm gonna be not being able to sleep tonight because I'm loving this, because the ramifications of using this in practice on a mobile unit in a regular practice, there is no space for a cord, number one, and sensors are always bulky. And if this is clear anyway, this is just fantastic. Sean, can you 3D print about 400 of these and bring them to the conference and then just give them to everybody?
Yeah.
What would that do? They'd be like, this is it, right?
Right, yeah, you just walk around. Yeah, it's so convenient. And like the thing for me is like, so people are worried about, you might have some worries like, well, this might get thrown away. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I put the docking station right in the room. You take the X-rays, you put it back on there. Because the way you solve problems like things getting lost or damaged is just good procedures in the office. And I think, because hand pieces, if you're not careful with those can get dropped, lost, or damaged. But good offices know how to take care of that stuff. So I think it's going to be great. I mean, for me, it's like taking an X-ray series with it is so much easier. Because like you said, like especially when you're trying to take anything vertical, right? The cable is always a problem. They're always like, oh, well, we'll bend the cable out this way or angle it this way. Or you're trying to take good bite wings, but the patient can't bite down all the way because you don't want them to bite on the cable itself. It's very cool. And it's one of those sensors where it's fun to show because the image quality is so great. I don't have to have that image quality conversation. It's just like you take an X-ray because it's direct capture. It doesn't have to go through this scintillation process where the image gets so fuzzy. I think especially dentists that used to love film for how much contrast film had. Because when digital came out, that was always people always complained to me about that. They'd be like, yeah, I'm giving up film. I get it because film's hard to look at. But film did have a ton of contrast. And digital X-ray sensors didn't because of the scintillators. It took a lot of contrast away. And so going to a direct capture, they're going to get that back. So now they're going to get like the cool detail of like a big digital image, but also they're going to get that contrast back that they lost when they moved away from film. So
I kind of miss the old school film. I kind of miss it. Sonya, do you miss it at all?
Not at all. So, not at all. Not at all. And that, I've used that for most of my hygiene early years. Sean, what is the price point on that?
So it's going to be $12,000 for a full kit. So that's going to include a sensor, 2 of these wireless docking stations, and sensor holders. So And we figure since you get about 2 docking stations with each kit, we figure that works out about right, because usually you only end up using one sensor in about 2 rooms anyway.
So it's the
Even when
same
you're,
type of sensor holders like this? Is it the same
yep.
similar? Okay.
And we found also, if you already really like, a lot of people have like RIN DS fits and stuff. Obviously, you can just use that sensor holder, because it fits everything and stuff. So there's a lot of sensor holder options for it. So yeah, it's a cool product. It's really neat to have something actually new. It's just cool to have something that's like, yeah, this is actually different. Not just.
You're always on the cutting edge, Sean. You're always on the cutting edge. You and your team are amazing. So, but we dive right in head first. And for our new people who are new to the podcast, could you tell them what your company, everything that your company provides to the dental professional?
Yeah, so Sodium Dental, or Sodium Systems, we do all dental technology. So we do intraoral scanners, intraoral sensors, obviously, as we just talked about. We do digital panos, 3D cone beam CTs. We just got really heavily into digital impression scanning, intraoral scanners to replace impression materials. We're still playing around with what our favorite product is for a 3D printer. Because going to clear aligners is going to be, that's going to be a GP thing, I think, in the future, is to print those aligners right in-house. And then we provide all the IT services as well. And then I think something we're pretty well known for, especially in the National Mobile Group, is when your sensor breaks, no matter who makes it, we can fix it instead of you replacing it. But yeah, so as a company, that's our goal, is to just be at the cutting edge of what's a new technology in dental. And specifically the types of things that plug into your computer. So, the panos, the 3D CTs, the sensors, the cameras, all this cool new 3D technology with being able to scan inside the mouth and print out your own aligners, bite splints, all that jazz. So, that's our core focus. And what we don't manufacture ourselves, we find manufacturers that we trust, that have really good products, that also have good warranties on their products. Is a big deal for us. Like, yeah, that was the first question. When I was talking to the manufacturers of this sensor, my first question was, it's got a battery inside of it. What's the potential there? How long? What's your tested life cycle? Things like that. And then my final question was, all right, 5 years down the road, let's say this battery fails. What's the cost to the customer? And they told me $400. They'll replace the battery, redo the whole outside of the sensor, and then send it back to the customer. And I was like, all right, well, that's not a bad deal, because you also get now you're going to get a brand new housing for the outside of your sensor too. So
right,
it's kind of like getting a refurbishment to the product. So, but that's always a big question for us, because we intend to have customers for a very long time. So that's what we do as a business. We're even developing I guess something else that's new we're doing is we're developing an imaging software for dental. Dental imaging software like DEXIS imaging, Carestream imaging, things like that, or some of the new cloud softwares. We think that they're kind of neglecting a whole group of dentists, which is, for instance, you're mobile and you're going in to see a patient. A cloud imaging software may not be great for you because you might be someplace where you can't get good internet when you're going in mobile. So you need it to reside on your laptop at that moment. But then when you leave that location, you may want that to then sync with some type of a cloud solution so that you can access it from any computer, and so that maybe you can just have a secure backup that way, and so on. So we're developing that imaging software. We're developing an imaging software that'll work locally entirely. Like, you'll be able to see it'll have a copy of the local database. It'll be encrypted. And then when you plug that computer in, you'll be able to have a cloud option for it that syncs that whole database to a cloud database, and you'll be able to go to a website, log in, and also use it just like a cloud software.
Wow.
Because, well, we think that's where dental offices really need it. Because if you got a big practice too, also if you're like one of these 20 operatory practices, that's a lot of computers to be going out through the internet to be getting all your X-rays. So you're a big practice, and maybe you own a second one. So you're thinking to yourself, I need cloud because I got 2 practices. I need to access it from multiple locations. So with our software, both your local locations would be accessing local servers. It'd be real fast. And then in the background, not messing with how fast you're accessing your data, they're also syncing those two servers together and syncing to the cloud. So, that's, we're trying to look at the opportunities of having things on the internet, but without destroying the value that you get out of having something locally. It's like when your internet goes out at your house, and that's that one occasion where you try and figure out if you still have any DVDs.
Right. Sean, you always say the craziest stuff.
Right, yeah.
Thank you for explaining that,
truth.
Sean. Go ahead, Melissa. What would you say, lady?
I said #truth. Yes.
Yeah, it's like internet goes down, and you're like, man, everything I watch is through a streaming service. Now I have to talk to the people in my house? This is awful. You go fishing around, like, do I still have a DVD player somewhere? Like, you're like, maybe you got an Xbox laying around and plug something in. So, and hey, you could go outside if you're at your house. But if you're at your practice and your internet goes down, you really don't want to just send your patients home and stuff. So we're trying to work out solutions that
that's great.
Understand these concepts. So,
well, thank you, Sean. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Love it. The last thing I want to say about Sodium Dental, I'm just going to talk about you, Sean, and then it's going to be fine.
Right.
But I picture you guys as like the tech buddy that every dental practice needs. They can look to you for what's coming on the horizon. They can look to you to repair. They can troubleshoot. And so, do you have a newsletter? Do you guys send out like a monthly newsletter or anything with all these updates in it?
Oh, we don't. We do this.
Okay. Well,
I've got,
darn it, because I wanted to sign up for that newsletter.
I would make one, but I try and just devote my time to talking. You guys have
ideas, man.
I'd rather share it with you guys and let you guys put it out there, because I think the people that work in mobile dentistry are going to come and watch your podcast and see that. So it's like, this is where we can get information out. We do have a YouTube channel that you can look up, Sodium Dental, use YouTube, and it's just filled with, I guess, my ramblings on different topics. But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, this information is constantly new. I mean, the research I recently did on 3D printing technology, we're not even in, like, most dentists haven't even touched 3D printers yet, right? And already the Formlabs SLA stereolithography printing may be getting supplanted by new 3D printing technology. So literally, dentists getting into it will probably be on, version 3 of the technology before they ever step foot in it. And with things changing that quickly, we're looking at, digital intraoral scanners. Like, 3 years ago, the only options on the market were pretty expensive options like iTero, and those run 25, 30 grand. And, now we've got companies coming out with these new waveform impression scanners, and they can make them they can go to market at 10 grand retail, and they're fast. There's so much, I don't know if you've ever seen someone use one of the ones where you have to paint the teeth and stuff, right? You got to put this powder coating on the teeth, and then you can use the scanner. Like the first Cyrex were that way. And now you don't have to do any of that. You literally just pull this thing, looks like an intraoral camera out. You just start waving it around, and the software is so smart. Like, you can start scanning here, be scanning. You could like pull it out of the mouth, put it back in over here. It knows that you're on totally different teeth. Start from over here, come back, and it'll stitch it all together. It's unbelievable. Like, I got this one product in, and I made a 3D print of my entire mouth in like 15 minutes. I fiddled around with the software.
Sell it on eBay. See what happens.
Yeah. I have a copy of my teeth. When you print your teeth out, you start realizing that you didn't have braces, and that's.
It gives you a low self-esteem. It will give you a low self-esteem for sure.
Like, they look good from the front, but they're a little janky in the back.
Did you say janky?
A little bit, yeah.
So that's why you're looking into all the 3D printing, so that you can print your own aligners, right? And then just try to figure it out yourself.
I think I'll just leave them how they are. With me, I'd have one of those aligners. You know how much coffee I drink. My aligner would be brown by the end of the week. It'd be the grossest
Take it
thing in the
out when
world.
you
I just
drink. You're not supposed to keep it
Oh,
in.
It'd be the grossest thing. Now I have a visual of a crummy brown aligner. That's crazy. But Sean, we got to get ready to cut off. Thank
all
you
right.
for always coming and bringing the tech that we need. You're always spot on. Thank you for, like Melissa said, being one of our number one supporters for the National Mobile and Teledentistry Alliance. Thank you for being a great provider of X-ray equipment for mobile clinicians. And we
Thank you.
appreciate everything you do. Melissa, you want to wrap?
Sure, Sean. Thank you. If people want to reach out to you, where would you send them?
I would send them first to our website at sodiumdental.com. That's a great starting point just to find out about us. Also, it's fast to get to all of our solutions. You go to our website, and we have live chat on our website. So, like, people who don't like using the phone, I mean, some people are like, I'm like that. I don't like calling people, you know. So that's a really fast way to get in touch with us. And, quite frankly, I don't mind putting my personal email out there. I'm Shawn, SHAWN, at sodiumdental.com. So anyone that's got a question for me, shoot it over to me. I check it very frequently, and I certainly don't mind being a part of that process. And if I'm not the right person to talk to here at the company, I'll make sure it gets to the right person.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Sean. We love you. We love what you're doing. Thank you all for listening again in this new year. Thank you for listening to Dentistry Gone Wild, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or just listening to the audio version. We will see you next Monday, and then hopefully again at the conference. Thank you all. Have a good day.
See y'all in Vegas. Bye.